Alright class, today we're going to talk about simple and compound interest. This is the money either earned by keeping your money into a bank, you earn interest on money, or it's money you pay on a mortgage or a loan. Okay, so interest can be both good or bad depending on where you're getting or where the money is going, I should say. Look at the example here. These are ways to invest and make money. Okay, you can invest in a savings account, a CD, money market, you can invest in stocks. But more so the interest rates on these are good. You're gaining this much percent of your money as interest. For mortgage rates, when you're paying on houses or car loans, you're paying in money by a fee, basically a fee for borrowing it. All right. So we're going to talk about interest today. There's two types of interest. There's simple interest and compound interest. Compound is the one you'll see most often in real life. But let's start off with simple interest, and make sure you pause this, write down what interest and simple interest are. Interest is the amount of money paid or earned based on a bank or a financial institution's rate. Okay, so they're looking at it as a positive way, you're gaining interest. So simple interest is paid on only the initial investment, or what's called the principal. Okay, so you gain interest on what you put in to start. In real life, you gain interest on, any money that's in there, whether it's a start or you've added more, whenever. So our formula to find how much interest is, we're going to take our principal, or the original investment, times the rate. Now the rate is your percent, or your interest, but we need to turn it into a decimal. So if it's a 5% interest rate, we need to turn it into 0.05 by moving the decimal twice. And then T is time, and it's always in years, okay, or how many cycles there are. So if we keep it in the bank for 3 years, or 5 years, or 7 years, how many years that number goes there. So it's a fairly straightforward formula. We're going to multiply our three numbers together to find what our interest is. So let's look at example 1, part A. I'm investing $1,000 at 4.5% for 2 years. I want to know what my interest is. Alright, so my P is 1,000, that's what I put in. My rate is 4.5%, but I had to turn that into a decimal, so I'm going to do 0.045, move it twice, and then my years is 2, or my T is 2. So I'm just going to multiply those three things together. That's going to tell me how much interest I've earned. In 2 years, the bank will have paid me $90 just for keeping my money in their bank, or in the account for them. Alright. Part B here, a little bit bigger investment, a little better interest rate, and a longer time. So I should be earning more than $90. But same thing, I'm going to do $2,500 for my P. My rate is going to be 0.0675. Don't round that off at all. And then 3 years, so 3 is my T. Plug all that in, you multiply it, and your simple interest is $506.25. So that's how much they'll give you over 3 years if that was your interest rate. Here's some other example problems. It's just using the I equals PRT, interest equals principal times rate times time. All right. Now, if they ask for how much is in the account after this many years, okay, we're going to have to take our answer and add it on to our original investment. So make sure we're looking for what they want for the answer. If they want the interest, they just want this number. If they want the total in the account, we have to add on what we put in, plus with what the bank has paid us in interest. All right. Mr. Gable borrowed $1,860 to buy a computer. He will pay $71.30 per month for 30 months. Find the simple interest rate for this loan. So here's the key. They want to know the rate, the interest rate. Oh, that's not the right. Let me undo that. Let's see the color. The interest rate. So looking for what percent is he paying in interest. Alright, so I need to find my percent. Well, in order to do this, that means I need to know my I, my P, and my T. Let's find out what I know. Alright, so my principal is how much I borrowed, or how much I got, which is $1,860. My T, remember T is always in years, so what is 30 months as years? Well, 12 months is 1 year, 24 months is 2 years, and another 6 months is half. So it'll be 2.5 years for my time. And now I need to know my I so I can solve this equation for R, my rate. Well, my interest is how much more I paid above my original loan. Okay, so I needed $18.60. I take how much I paid total. Well, how much I paid total is going to be these two multiplied together. 30 times 71.30. Okay, so how much I paid total was $2,139. So to find my interest, I have to subtract the $18.60 because that's going to tell me how much more I paid over my original, loan. So I paid $279 in interest. Okay, so let's check these numbers out that are covered up here. That's how much I paid. If I subtract it, that's my interest. So that's my I. Alright, so I can solve this equation by saying 279 equals 1860 times 2.5 times R, right here. I just got to solve this equation now. Well, how do I get R by itself? How do I get rid of the 1860 and the 2.5? Well, I do the opposite of what they're doing right now. They're multiplying R. So I have to divide by 1860. And I have to divide by 2.5. To both sides. I have to divide 279. I take it divided by 1860. And I divide it by 2.5. Which is 0.06. So what is my interest rate on this loan? It would be 6%. Okay. We can check to make sure it fits. Make sure 1860 times 0.06 times 2.5 is the 279 we wanted. And it is. So this kind of a work backwards problem for you. Okay, so if we're missing the principal or the rate or the time, we can kind of fill in the other three things we know and work backwards. All right, last thing, compound interest. This is the more common type of interest that you see in real life. You're gaining interest on what you put in and also the previous interest that was earned in the past. Okay, so if you put in certain money into a bank and you earn interest after 1 year, well, year 2 you're going to earn interest off that money also. Okay, so let's see how this works. I want to know what is the total amount of money in the account where $600 is invested at an 8.75% rate, compounded annually for 2 years. So compounded means it's compound interest. So I have to find the interest of the first year, and I have to do it again now for the second year with that new total. So let's look at what it looks like. My principal is 600. I put 600 in at a rate of 8.75. I turn that into a decimal, so it's 0.0875 times 1 year. So after 1 year, I've gained $52.50 in interest. So now the money in my account is $652.50. Now I need to do it again for the second year. Okay. Well, my principal now, or the money in my bank, is $652.50. It's the same rate, and again I do another year. I'm adding another year on. All right. So I multiply all that. I get an answer of $57.09. So I add that to my previous total of $652.50. So the amount of money in my bank after 2 years is $709.59. If they want to do a third year, I would use this number as my P and have the same rate and the same time. And that would give me the interest. So notice they wanted the total number of money in the account, so you have to add on your interest to what was already in there. Okay? So the guided practice would you do it 3 times because it's 3 years, and you keep adding it on. You do 5,000 times 0.05 times 1. Take that answer, add it on, times 0.05 times 1 again. Take that answer, add it on, times 0.05 times 1 for a third time. Alright? If it's 4 years, you have to do it a 4th time, or a 5th time, or whatever you want to do. So, that is compound interest. So you see, it gets a little more complicated, a little more messy because you're adding on every single year. Simple interest is more basic, not as common in real life, but you can see compound interest gets bigger faster because you're earning extra money on extra interest. All right, so that's all I have for today. There's compound and simple interest. Hope you learned something. Maybe about how banking works a little bit or how loans work. Make you some money someday. Invest early and often.